Hi, my name's Alex. If I look dead, it's because it is 1:38 in the morning, and I decided that I wanted to shoot this video. Why? I'm not really sure, but we're gonna do it now. So, if this is the first video of mine that you're seeing, I'm not usually this boring or sad. So go watch another video and then come back to this one if you want. Today I'm going to be talking about anxiety, graduating high school in general, college, all that really fun stuff that we love to talk about on the internet. Yup. So I guess to start off this video, let's talk about recently. So I graduated high school recently, very recently. My last day was the 24th of January. It's February, I guess technically the 4th when I'm filming this. So that kind of gives you kind of like a time frame. Finally graduating high school is a really weird thing. The fact that it is so weird and it's like such a feeling, definitely like goes back a few years. So let's start there. I guess most of my like issues, like like anxiety and depression stuff, really started like acting up in 8th grade. I didn't have the words for it back then, but I was having lots of anxiety, and also I was like, this sounds so funny, but like undiagnosed like IBS, which just kind of like intertwined with my anxiety. And then because of my anxiety, I still don't use public restrooms. Like I don't shit in public restrooms. I was just gonna make a joke about being demonetized, but I'm not monetized in the first place. So basically at this point in my life, and like still even kind of now, I avoid shitting in public restrooms at all costs, or just like anywhere outside my house, like not even at like friends' houses or anything. Like I just don't do it. I don't feel comfortable with it, and it makes me super anxious for whatever reason. I don't really know. But if you have the same problem, leave it in the comments down below. Correct me if I am wrong in the comments, because I very well might be wrong, but I think there are two main types of IBS. IBS-C, which is IBS like leaning more on the constipation side, and IBS-D, which is leaning more on the diarrhea side. And I have IBS-D. I basically would get so anxious before school in the morning, starting in 8th grade, probably like 2 months into 8th grade, that I would do everything I could to avoid going to school. And at this point I was anxious, I was dealing with the IBS, I had depression, I was self-harming. It was just not a good year. So I would avoid going to school at all costs. Eventually, the whole problem with truancy came up. So my mom was like, okay, we're taking you to therapy. And I was like, okay, like as long as I don't have to go to school. So she booked a therapy appointment, and ever since then I've been in therapy. I've taken a few months off. I've had 3 different therapists, but overall I've pretty consistently been in therapy for 5 years now. I'm sorry in advance, this video is gonna be all over the place. Let's hope editing Alex does a really good job. So 8th grade year, I ended up doing lots of therapy, homeschooling for a period of time, I believe. I honestly can't remember. I did an outpatient program, and I maybe got back to school for like a week towards the end. That was pretty much it. I somehow graduated middle school. I still have no idea how. I think the summer between 8th and 9th grade, I kind of just worked on my anxiety and depression and stuff like that. I think I was still self-harming off and on, and trying new medications, stuff like that. The beginning of freshman year, I only went to high school for 2 days, and they weren't even consecutive. I was basically still like a big fat mess. I ended up, starting to avoid school again, and it was like, getting kind of bad again, isolating myself, the whole deal, still struggling with self-harm. I think I maybe did more homeschooling for a period of time, and then in January of that year, I believe it was 2014, but don't quote me on that, I ended up starting cyber school, which I have done ever since. That really ended up helping me out a lot. Everything was okay. I was doing a lot better now that I didn't have to worry about going to school every morning, getting nervous about going to school every morning and like the night before. My mental health was slowly but surely getting better. I ended up stopping self-harming, and I haven't since then, which is awesome. It was either June or July of that year I actually ended up coming out as transgender. Surprise, as if you didn't know, with the trans flag behind me. But that was life-changing. I don't really know how to describe it, but that was definitely a big part of my anxiety, and it was like I finally had the words for it, which was super fucking amazing and was definitely a big step in my mental health getting better. I told everyone in my life. Basically, it was kind of an overnight thing, because once I had the words for it and once I had told my parents, I was like, I literally like do not care what anyone else says. So I decided to make a Facebook post about it, and that was a lot of fun. No, but everyone was really nice and supportive, and it was great. I was like the type of person that, like, as soon as I came out as trans, I wanted to start hormones. I'm definitely like a what now kind of person. So it kind of made me bummed out that I couldn't start hormones and I couldn't do all this, permanent transition stuff immediately after I came out, which is, taking a step back and looking at it, totally understandable. Like, I do not blame my parents at all, and I'm not blaming my parents. But then that was kind of like the new source of my depression, and I realized that I was dealing with dysphoria and was kind of like getting stuck on that. With my depression still persisting and my anxiety persisting in different ways, I was still getting bad grades even though I was doing like cyber school, and that was all chill. I got this talk so many times from my mom. I wasn't applying myself, I guess. The main times when my anxiety and depression kind of just kept getting better and better correspond with me getting farther in my transition. So me coming out, my depression and anxiety got better. Getting a binder for the first time. Of course, there were always still ups and downs, because that's what it's like when you have depression and anxiety, or just any kind of mental illness. So 9th grade year, I finished with probably like mostly D's, maybe like a B or two. 10th grade year, I actually had a teacher that I really didn't like, so I failed her class to like spite her and also kind of because I was an idiot. I actually ended up getting held back in a sort of weird way, which was basically just me not getting enough credits to move on in that specific class, which makes sense later because I'm 18 and just graduated high school, which is late, but also I graduated in January, so it's technically early for this year. My second 10th grade year, I was still kind of like on my same bullshit. Maybe like tried a little bit harder in classes. I aced that class that I failed with the stupid teacher. The ups were great, but the downs were usually very down at this point. Thinking about suicide down, not relapsing thankfully, and just feeling like really shitty about myself. That was pretty much what 10th grade year was, ups and downs, to the point where sometimes when I was really down, I just really didn't think that I would finish high school, or like that I would still be alive to finish high school, rather. That was another kind of weird thing. When you grow up and do your first couple years of high school thinking that you might not even be alive to finish it, it kind of makes the idea of finishing it very unrealistic to you. I just didn't see it happening for whatever reason. In turn, with that, I didn't really think about my future. I didn't think about like what I was going to do after high school, what colleges I was going to apply to, or anything like that. Like, I was very much behind by the time I got to 11th grade with all that stuff. In the summer after my second year of 10th grade, it was May 24th, 2015, I think. I started testosterone. That was such a, and it still is a really big point. The farther I got in my transition, the more me I felt and the less anxiety and depression I was feeling. And that was definitely like one of the biggest steps. The longer I took the testosterone, the more myself I was feeling, the better I was feeling. 11th grade, I got all A's, which was pretty great and very different from my previous years where I got mostly D's or B's or C's. Luckily, it's the year where colleges look at it and I kind of got my shit together in time for that. But it's also the year where they start asking you, the small questions like, what do you want to do for the rest of your life? And like, what college do you want to be in debt to until you're like in your late 40s? Things like that. Going off of what I said earlier, this was something that wasn't real to me. It wasn't going to happen. I didn't think about what colleges I wanted to go to or apply to. I didn't realistically think of what job I wanted. I've off and on done YouTube, and that's like one of the things that I've been passionate about. So I was like, okay, like I'll be a filmmaker. I'll go to school for filmmaking. That was pretty much what I would tell people. And as you can imagine, when you tell someone that you want to go to like art school or like, do anything artsy, they're kind of like, huh. A lot of the people you can kind of tell are thinking like, oh shit, like, okay, good luck with that. So that was something I had to deal with, and I'm still dealing with. When it comes to all the colleges and my future and stuff, I got told at the end of 11th grade, I actually had the option to take classes during the summer and then be done high school by August. I was like, fuck no, because I don't want to do that. They were like, okay, if you don't want to do that, you can graduate in January as long as you get your graduation project done in time. On September 21st, I had top surgery, which you can see a video about that if you want to watch that. It was the last video I posted like months ago. Starting testosterone and that are the biggest steps I've made in becoming more of myself and feeling more like myself and feeling better depression-wise and a little bit anxiety-wise. That was amazing, and that really, really helped me out a lot. So this year I took 4 or 5 classes. If I'm forgetting one, then it's 5. And that was pretty chill, you know. I mean, the workload wasn't too bad or anything. I ended up finishing in January with all A's again. You know, I'm proud of myself. I am a high school graduate. Kind of feels like I'm gonna like wake up any second and be like freshman in high school again. The last couple months of my high school experience, I was focusing it on finishing my senior project, which was volunteering or job shadowing for 20 hours. I did volunteering at various different places and writing an essay about your post-secondary plan. During my senior year, I tried looking at colleges and like researching colleges, but I would just end up getting really anxious, and like I'm getting anxious even talking about it still because I'm a mess. And my therapist and I just decided, you know what, think of a general plan and then focus on it after you graduate, because right now the top priority is graduating high school. So I'm like, cool, that sounds great, let's do that. But here I am now. It is February 4th and I still have not researched too much into colleges. I know that I'm going to start out at one of 2 of the local community colleges. I'm still going with the plan that I want to study film, maybe like minor in photography or like education or something. I honestly don't fucking know. Basically, ever since I've graduated like a week or 2 ago, I can't math. I can't do math, I'm gay. I have pretty much just been doing nothing because on one hand I want to give myself a break because holy shit, high school was rough for me. It took a lot out of me. It was pretty much my whole life. Like that's that's how it is for everyone. But now that that big chunk of my life is over, I like don't know what to do with myself. I have 8 months of like nothing to do. For a normal person, it would just be like, hey, go get a job or like fucking, I don't know, do something productive. I am really having like a major crash with my anxiety and I am not sure why. I feel like I need to like reevaluate my whole life. Now I'm having doubts about like what I want to go to school for and if I'm even gonna get a job in that, and the fact that I want to be able to be independent and be on my own. Yeah, okay, let's talk about that. I feel so behind because of the fact that I struggled with anxiety, and I feel like I coddled myself about struggling with anxiety, that I'm 18 and I can't make phone calls, can barely order for myself. I just feel like I'm some sort of little kid, and it really, really fucks with me, and it's really depressing. And if I start crying on YouTube, I'm going to delete my account. And I just feel like I'm so much younger, not maturity-wise, but like in what I'm capable of than my peers. It makes me really sad because I feel like I can't go out and get a job or talk to people or like do the regular things that I'm supposed to be doing at 18. Because of this anxiety, my IBS, my depression. It just makes me an incredibly unreliable person. And I forgot to mention this when I was talking about my high school years, but basically when I started getting better and going out more, it was because I started taking something called Imodium, which, if you don't know what that is, would not recommend it for IBS, but it's what I do. It basically, like, plugs you up. Like, that's what it does. I started taking that every time I would have to leave the house. I started taking that because I was so worried that I was gonna, like, I don't know, fucking like shit my pants in public or something, because I don't use public restrooms, like I said earlier, that now it's like probably 2 years later since I started taking it, and I depend on it so much. I feel like I still can't go out of the house without it comfortably, unless it's like going out to like Rite Aid with my mom or something. But when it comes to like going over a friend's house, this whole week my IBS has been pretty bad, and I can't pinpoint why, but I actually had to cancel on my friends because I was gonna go over his house. It was just too far, and I just, like, even with the Imodium, I just feel like I can't do it, and it sucks because I used to have to cancel appointments all the time because I couldn't go because my stomach was too bad. And the fact that it feels like now it's gonna start happening again, it sucks a lot. I'm really scared that I'm going to go back to a bad place, especially after I haven't been in one for a while. That thought is just kind of like sticking with me, and it's like making me anxious. It's making me really anxious that I might start getting anxious and depressed again. Once again, this video is all over the place, I'm so sorry, but I just really needed to talk about it because this is like all I've been thinking about since I graduated. Like, I'm so anxious that the thought of college or like getting a job, moving out, these are all things that I want to be able to do, but when I think about it realistically, I feel like I'm not going to be able to in the near future, and it sucks so bad because I thought by now I would be at a point where I could do these things, and it seems as though I'm just like not. Currently, I have college essay prompts sitting over there, and they've been sitting over there for months because I can't even like bring myself to like try and think about it. I've always kind of been all about like the whole avoidance thing, unfortunately. To me, I know that if I avoid college essays, that's just gonna like make things shittier for me. But like my little piece of my brain is like, if you don't think about the essays and don't do them and don't look into colleges and don't try to find a job and don't think about this and that and this and that and that, then you won't have to deal with it ever. That's just like a little bit of what's happening in the noggin with me lately. I don't like it. I hope that I do something productive in these 8 months that I have off, which, starting with this, I'm gonna try to make more videos. I know that every person that does YouTube that goes away always says that, but I'm really going to try to make better videos. I want to make short films. I started writing one, and we'll see where that goes. It's just usually when I try to do YouTube regularly, I run out of ideas or whatever, which is probably pretty common. I honestly just gotta do the things that I think I would watch, and a lot of that is spooky stuff. I've been debating starting to do spooky stuff on here because I like listening to all like those conspiracy theories, scary stories, stuff like that. I love that shit. I think maybe I'm just gonna start making videos about whatever the fuck I want to talk about, and if no one watches them, that's fine. At least I'm keeping busy. I think I pretty much said all that I wanted to say, and it is 2:26 a.m. So I'm going to go now. If you watched all the way through, Jesus Christ, dude. You're the real MVP. If you didn't, that's okay. This video was mostly for me. Look forward to more videos, hopefully. If you relate to any of this, actually definitely comment below because I would love to talk about it. Talking about it is important, and not feeling like you're the only one feeling this, which is kind of how I'm feeling, is also very important. Bye. Of the